Who's your favorite darkwave band from today's era? And how are today's darkwave bands living up to the themes from the darkwave we knew years ago? I'm Erin Lebax. This is Newish Wave. Thank you for being here. We're going to look at these questions today through an amazing new darkwave artist that I am just loving. They've got 2 albums that are both so strong. We're talking about The Foreign Resort. Today we'll unpack just a little bit of the song She Is Lost from their more recent album. You'll be hearing more about them in other videos because they've got this dark, forward-pushing sound, lots of ostinato, fancy word we'll look at later. They are reminding me of Nitzareb, Sisters of Mercy, so many great performers and artists from back then. With She Is Lost, we'll look at 2 darkwave themes that come through really strongly in the song. And then we'll also take apart the chord structure a little, use our handy tool a little bit at the end to look at the fact that the chords from this piece are actually 1, 2, 3, and 5. Typically, we've talked before about seeing 1, 4, 5, 1, so a little different. And we'll get a little bit of piano action looking at our very first theme, the minimalist riffs that this band is able to bring forward. Something that we've all loved starting back with Joy Division, the minimalism and how much you can feel between the notes, the richness of the note, the richness of the pause between sounds, right? So we'll start by looking at this introductory riff they have going on and this minimalist sort of theme that stays throughout the piece. Then we'll check out a little bit of the song with iTunes, hear the actual voices, and that'll take us into some of the thematic discussions about the lyrics. So I'm going to start on the keys and then I'll meet you back here to talk about it. So The Foreign Resort out of Copenhagen is just oozing with darkwave themes. I'm just looking at a couple with this song, and then we'll get into more later with some of their more industrial kind of machinery moving forward types of good, deep darkwave sounds later. With this song, let's talk about what we just heard. So 2 little minimalist riffs, and I opened this channel actually talking about minimalism with Joy Division. And with so many new wave also bands that just have beautiful little lines of melody played and represented by different instruments throughout the piece. So we heard the first part with 4 chords behind it that I'll put on the screen. So that was mainly 3 notes, you may have noticed. And then our next set was very similar, just expanded it a little bit. But we were playing with mostly the same notes there. So we've got the minimalism and it comes up, there's a good guitar solo with this information later, and we're hearing it behind the whole time. Let's hear that introduction the way it's actually played with a darker feel and less acoustic, obviously. And now we'll transition into the second theme, darkwave theme of alienation, isolation, loss, coming to conclusions like this is not going to be for me. And we'll hear that. I'll play it through the first opening lyric and then talk about how that proclamation changes and becomes more tragic throughout the song. How can you not want to see them in concert right now? Hearts do believe, but we cannot kiss tonight. I love how they shaped this song lyrically because the 2 times we hear that concept invoked again, it becomes more despairing, tragic, and accepting of this loss and alienation. That we heard that first one, hearts do believe, but we cannot kiss tonight. Later in the song, the hearts start losing their belief, but not only that, we get, and we will not kiss tonight. And lastly, at the end of the song, and we'll never kiss tonight. So that descent, that progression towards more loss and gloom, I find very gothy and very beautiful, right? About this connection to this love that is now going to be lost. Let's check in about the chords quickly. We've talked a little about the chord wheel before, which, by the way, typically you just see the inner ring, and that is the circle of fifths. Each chord is 5 steps apart on the keyboard, or on the notes rather. We're looking at the key of B, and I use my tool to show me what other chords typically would hang out with a B. And one of them, so we've got our B chord, and then we have our F sharp. That's a 1 and a 5. You can kind of hear how they sound just fine with each other. No one's really disagreeing or creating any tension or drama. Previously, in the New Order Ceremony video, we talked about how a 4 chord can work really well with a 1 chord to create more drama, but the Foreign Resort has chosen not to include a 4 chord. They're going to have to come up with another way to create drama, and they do it by bringing in a 2 and a 3, which is a much rarer thing to do. So our 1 chord was a B, and then you'll hear us go up 1 step from a 1 to a 2, and then again. But you can hear one thing, which is that it's not over, right? We're still waiting for something else to happen, which is the 5. Or we could just go back to the 1. But we could never just leave it hanging as 1, 2, 3. It clearly is asking a question. So another cool chord progression, 1, 2, 3, 5. They did not use the usual harmonizing mechanism of putting a 1 and a 4 together. They chose instead to use these 2 and 3 chords that are much more rare, but also create that sense of lack of resolution, a little bit of mystery. And I think also they contribute in this song to that constant sense of moving forward, known in music theory circles as ostinato, which will come up again, especially talking about the Foreign Resort. So let me know, who's your favorite new wave, dark wave band playing today? Where are they from? Or have you ever gotten to see the Foreign Resort? I need to go to Europe to do that. On the list. And thanks for the amazing music, guys. I love both your new albums, and we'll talk more about this band soon. It's inspiring to see that what we all felt, people of my half-century-ness, back then from dark wave, is really, that promise is still being delivered on by the Foreign Resort.